Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Niko wijaya from Group 11, and now I wanna explain about material cultural problem in translation. The culture as a perspective is defined in the dictionary language teaching, and applied linguistic as a culture, the total set of beliefs, attitude, custom, behavior, and social habits of the member of particular society. For many people, culture is considered as a gateway to a given society herd. To have a close insight about its identity. Though some cultural concepts seem to be universal, however, they are not interpreted in the same way. Each language has its own interpretation according to its people way of thinking, living style, and even their geographic position. Since as said before by Liver that language are equipped and lexicalized differently. The cultural translation problems are the results of difference between language as a set of lexems and meanings as a between culture as ways of expressing oneself identity and living style. And next material will be discussed by my friend Aida.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Aida Maharani. I want to continue the explanation from Niko about strategies introduced by Newmark for dealing with cultural. First strategy is naturalization. Naturalization is a strategy when a SL word is transferred into a TL text in its original form. Second, couple or triple and quadruple. This is another technique the translator adopts at the time of transferring. Naturalization or caucus to avoid any misunderstanding. According to him, is it a number of strategies combined together to handle one problem. Third, neutralization. Neutralization is a kind of paraphrase at the level of word. If it is at higher level, it would be a paraphrase. When the SL item is generalized or neutralized, it is paraphrased with some cultural free word. 4. Descriptive and functional equivalent. In explanation of such language cultural item, there is two elements. One is descriptive and second, be functional. Descriptive equivalent talks about size, color, and composition, and the functional equivalent talks about the purpose of the SL cultural specific word. Fifth, explanation of footnote. The translator may wish to give extra information to the TL reader. He would explain this extra information in a footnote. It may come at the bottom of the page, at the end of chapter, or at the end of the book. 6. Cultural equivalent. The SL cultural word is translated by TL cultural word. 7. Compensation. A technique which is used when confronting a loss of meaning. Sound effect, pragmatic effect, or metaphor in one part of a text. The word or concept is compensated in other part of the text. In 1992, Lauren Vanuti mentioned the effective powers controlling translation. He believed that in addition to government and other politically motivated institutions which decide to censor or promote certain work, there are groups and social institutions which would include various players in the publication as a whole. These are the publishers and editors who choose the works and commission the translation, pay the translators, and often dictate the translation method. Power play is an important theme for cultural commentators and translation scholars. In both theory and practice of translation, power resides in the deployment of language as an ideological weapon for excluding or including a reader, a value system, a set of beliefs, or even an entire culture. In 1988, Newmark defined culture as the way of life and its manifestation that are peculiar to a community that uses a particular language as its means of expression. Thus acknowledge that each language group has its own culturally specific feature. He also introduced cultural work which the readership is unlikely to understand, and the translation strategies for this kind of concept depend on the particular text type, requirement of the readership and client, and importance of the cultural word in the text. Peter Newmark also categorized the cultural words as follows. First, ecology. There are fauna, flora, hills, winds, and plains. Second, material cultures. There are food, clothes, house, and towns, transport. Third, social culture. There are work and leisures. And last, organization culture. There are activities, procedures, concept, the political and administrative, religious, artistic. And fifth, gesture and habits. Introduce conceptual factors for translation process, which is first, purpose of text, motivation and cultural, technical, and linguistic level of readership. Third, importance of reference in SL text. And the last, setting. Thus recognize translation text. Fifth, recency of word or reference. And the last, features or reference. He further clearly stated that operationally he doesn't regard language as a component or feature of culture, in direct opposition to the view taken by Vermeer, who stated that language is part of a culture. According to Newmark, Vermeer's stance would imply the impossibility to translate, whereas for the latter, translating the source language, or SL, into a suitable form of TL is part of the translator's role in transcultural communication. Language and culture may thus be seen as being closely related, and both aspects must be considered for translation. When considering the translation of cultural word and notion, Newmark proposed two opposing methods, transference and componential analysis. According to him, transference gives local color, keeping cultural names and concepts. The importance of the translation process in communication led Newmark to propose componential analysis, which he described as being the most accurate translation procedure, which includes the culture and highlight the message. Okay, that's enough from us. Thanks and assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.